And we are live. Yay, we made it. Hello, hello. Welcome
Oh,
in, girlfriends.
hello, hello. Let me get that one.
Leslie, say hello, hello.
Hello. Hi.
Let's give everyone a minute to start coming in. So it takes a moment for the things to go out. Jerry's your week going good so far?
No, I've got many highlights. Put it that way. A lot of
Hmm.
low lights, but we're gonna focus on the highlights.
Amen. The week is almost over. So look at it that way. That's the way I'm looking at it. You know,
Of
that,
the
that's
fast.
the way I'm looking at it. Hi, Nikki. Welcome in, sweetheart. Welcome in. So well, the week is almost over. Better things are to come. So
Yeah,
we have already got, I think, 13 people. Is that the count? Can you see Leslie?
my favorite. Okay.
Okay. Julie, how
23.
are you, sweetie? Thank you for joining us. Well, we're going to kind of wait a couple minutes here for some more to come in because I want everyone to understand that they're going to be respectful tonight or they're going to be leaving.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not a babysitter. I've already raised two children. I have five grandchildren. And we are
Mm.
just not going to put up. Oh, bless your heart, Nikki. So, no, you know what? It was on there wrong. And then when I saw the thing, it was showing one date on the other, but we had said that we would be Thursday. So then I got it worked out. So, but yes, I want everyone. Hi, Mama Kay. But it's just real important because the thing is that people from all over the world can view these videos. So when they see the behavior of people and the things they say to each other, about each other, and stuff, we need to show the world that we've got our act together,
Oh yeah, we're
you know,
yeah.
seriously. So we cannot be making personal attacks and stuff. And just simply tonight, the last two shows, I've been kind and said, Hi, Chu, welcome in, sweetheart. I've been kind and I have said, be nice, don't do that. But tonight we're not even playing that game.
Oh,
This is an important topic that whether people realize it or not, it affects all of us
sorry about that, everybody.
in one way or another. Immigration in this country affects all of us.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so if anybody misbehaves, and Leslie is our chat mod, and Leslie, if you will just randomly, put messages in, be kind or you will be blocked. There will not be any second chances. I'm not holding anybody's hand. I'm not putting anybody in timeout tonight. Okay.
Sure.
So,
Be kind and rewind that attitude.
hi, Eclipse. Eclipse is saying how special your hair is brushed and your blouse so pretty. I love that blue on you, Jerry.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
My,
Yes. Yes. That's what Eclipse is saying.
oh,
So, but yes, and that is a very pretty color on you. I think
it,
I have I have
it just
a
makes red and blue when I wear blue.
Nikki, I will hold your hand, but I just won't hold a hand of someone to babysit them. And anybody who ever meets me in person knows I'm a hugger. I hug everybody and I kiss everybody.
Yep.
So my husband, Mr. Cupcake, and we even have shirts that we wear that say free hugs and free kisses. Yeah, I'll give anybody a hug. So anybody, and yes, I will hold your hand. Even with these nails, I will do it.
Like to hug
So,
me. I'm so.
yes. Well, our topic for tonight is immigration.
Yes.
And I had said on last week's show that I was going to try in my area and get pictures of immigration in action. Unfortunately, I was unable to do that and did not even think ahead that tomorrow is the official start of Bike Week and spring
Oh,
break is here in our area. Yeah. So all the hotels are full and stuff. So ICE is not going to be present in our main areas because how does that look for tourism? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, oh, thank you, Mama Kay. Thank you. I kind of tried to now see this is my color right now. I tried to coordinate with my shirt and then I'll for a few days I'll try and wear the same kind of colors is what I'll do. So, but thank you. But
Right.
so unable to get pictures, and of course they're still here working, they're just not doing the main drags. I'm over in tourist area and we rely on the tourism here. So, and we just got finished with the Daytona 500, and now Bike Week is starting. So, but immigration is something that we have always had in this country. We've
Oh,
always
yeah.
had an immigration program. For those of you that do not know, I am married to a Mexican from the state of Guanajuato in Mexico. And a lot of people on YouTube love my husband. His nickname is Mr. Cupcake. And Mr. Cupcake came to this country originally illegally. He attempted to cross, honey, it was 17 times. I was in the other room. He doesn't hear me. I believe it was 17 times that he was sent back across the border.
Oof.
And yeah, well, and every time that happens and a coyote was paid, that was lost money.
Yeah.
You know, but he was determined to be able to come to the United States. So the jobs that he had first coming here and the living conditions, you would not put a dog in the situations he was in. I mean, just absolutely disgusting. So, but my husband is a legal immigrant. He is an American citizen. He was a green card holder, of course, first, but then he became an American citizen.
Excuse me.
So we personally do have illegal family members in this country right now. And of course, people looking at me, seeing a white woman, red hair, white skin, you wouldn't think that I have illegals in my family, but I do.
Oh, sure.
And they've been here a very long time, and they have had children here. I have some family members that they had some children in Mexico and they had some children here. So they are dealing with, I've got some kids that are legal and some kids that are illegal. So we know firsthand.
Can
Yes,
I
dear.
ask possibly a favor? Is there any way that we can call them undocumented versus illegal? And the reason I ask that is because illegal makes you think of the actual, like, criminals who hurt people. And I know that's kind of it's not really a gray area. It's just that when certain people are telling you that they're all just horrible human beings, and we know they're not. They're hardworking people who are doing jobs that Americans don't want because we're so privileged. Um, it just makes me feel like, yes, they are undocumented, which does commit a crime by being undocumented. However, it's not like really criminal, if that makes any sense. Like what people think of criminal as muggers, rapists, murderers. You know what I'm saying? Like shoplifters. I
Mhm.
kind of like if we can
Well,
just
the reason though, some people call them undocumented, some people call them illegal. The reason the term illegal is used sometimes is because they did not come in.
Oh, your voice is cutting out. Sorry, honey.
Are we okay?
I can hear you now. The reason that they're illegal is because they didn't come in.
Oh, we're swirling there.
Oh, I'm here. Can people hear me?
Yeah, plenty of undocumented people here that have never done anything illegal. And Pam, I don't know if, okay, you got that. I don't know if Pam can still hear us, but tonight there will be zero tolerance tonight. So, I've explained and been nice that if you don't like somebody here, Jerry, me, Leslie, somebody else in the chat, you have millions of other channels to choose from, huge channels even, where you can go and be mixed in with hundreds of people. But we are just not going to be mean in this chat. So if you are, then, and you put anything against anyone, you are simply going to be blocked. Yes, and you will be blocked permanently. So just so everyone hears that,
I don't know if everybody heard. I didn't hear what Rebecca was saying about the term illegal versus undocumented. Um, I think what you were trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of people use the term illegal because some of them come here illegally, like through improper channels, not through proper channels. But also there is that very large group of undocumented immigrants who came here on visas and never went home.
Oh, tons of them.
I never imagine.
There's people that in China is the top country for it, that for them to apply to come here, that the wait is like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So they don't want to do that. So they cross through Mexico, learning on TikTok how to do it, got their coordinates, their coordinates right and everything, where to stand for ICE to pick them up. And, they're here because the process will be faster for them when they're illegally entering the United States. Their
Sure.
process will be faster for them. So, but
huge number of undocumented immigrants who actually come here legally. That's what I was trying to say. Mm-hmm. Especially in northern states.
Well, I would like to know if anyone wants to put it in the chat. Are you for deportation or are you against it? Because I love knowing what makes other people tick and how they think and stuff. Because again, when we're out and about in the world, we are all intermingled with all kinds of people. So I love knowing how somebody thinks.
Yeah.
I love that. So, but if anybody wants to put it in the chat, are you for deportation or are you against it? And I know too, and Jerry, we touched on this 2 weeks back, whenever we had done the one show that.
Oops, sorry.
I think the number one misconception that people have is undocumented/illegal people are all here taking from our government. They are getting money, cars, food stamps, public assistance. They're getting everything. An American cannot get it, and they can get it. And it is simply, folks, it is not true. It is not true. There are people here in this country that do get benefits that came illegally. But those people have to be from a communist country. Like, again, I'm not picking on the Chinese, but the Chinese, for example, when they come in, my friends that crossed from Mexico that are Cuban, they're from a communist country. They got food stamps immediately. They got cash money, put on a card every month. They were able to get that. A Cuban getting those benefits and a Mexican getting benefits, it's not going to happen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's not going to happen. So go ahead, Jerry.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, AS Blind says, and thank you for coming. Hello from Colorado. Hope you are all having a blessed day. I'm against deportation. I have family in New Mexico who have been in this country illegally for 20 years plus. Well, see, I just said, I don't know if you heard what I said, but I have family here also. Mm-hmm. The youngest family member that I have here that is illegal is a niece that's 2 weeks old.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, here's the thing. I'm only saying that she's illegal because they're talking about the birthrights. So her parents are illegal. She's born here. So is she going to be deported?
Really never going to fly because of Native American. You're going to lead some parents to being immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, now Mama Kay says that she's for doing things legally. House of Joni, hi House of Joni, says, I think people should only come legally. Okay, but what pretty much right now, it has slowed down a lot on the people coming in. Right now, what we have to deal with are the ones that are here. So, they don't just disappear. And now President Trump did say that he was considering doing a period of letting people leave on their own, because what a lot of people do not know or understand is if you're illegal right now and you go to leave, you don't leave. You are arrested and detained because you've broken the United States law. So I have a family member who wanted to leave a few years ago, and she said, I can't, because if I do, I have to be detained, go to the immigration jail. She could end up being there for years. So she said, if they would just let me cross the border and go home, I would go home.
And
You
oddly,
know?
when you're in immigration jail, you do get benefits from the government. You get medical, you get housing, you get food, 3
Well,
meals.
but it's not where anybody that I've known that has gone to immigration jail. Number one, immigration jail, for the most part, yes, ICE does have certain centers for it, but they use our local jails a lot. And then they, like someone we know that got deported just a couple months ago back to Guatemala. He was kept in the county jail for several months. Then they came to him and said, if ICE doesn't pick you up within a couple days, we're going to let you go, because they can't, it's our county money.
Exactly.
So ICE did come and get him, and they transferred him to Miami. Well, in Florida, once you're sent to Miami, you're leaving. You're going to be gone. So, and sure enough, and they would not allow family members to put any money on his books. So he knew he was being shipped back to Guatemala. Now he's working on the money to come back, but at this point, it's going to cost $20,000 US dollars to come back.
Woo.
So, okay. Hi, Laura Ashley, Chatty Hag. Hello, Mr. Picky. Hello, Marianne. Hello. Leslie, can you read if you can see? And Cindy says legally also.
Laura Ashley says, I'm in Texas, and I believe the ones that have come across. Sorry, it jumped on me.
No, that's okay. Yeah, the chat jumps. See, isn't it different to see it on this side? That, like, when people are in the chat, they just see a chat. On our side, it skips.
Yes, are not here to work. I think it should be case by case.
Me too.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then Mary Ann says, having worked with the local migrants, I can say that ideally, yes, they should come here legally. However, the situations that are trying to escape are not always conducive to trying to.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, Leslie, is it okay if I say where you live?
Sure.
Leslie, our chat mod, lives in Aurora, Colorado. Aurora, Colorado was made infamous because of supposedly they had been flooded with over 50,000 Venezuelans that were all criminals. It wasn't safe to walk the streets there because it was so bad. The president, when he was still running for election, he went and he spoke. Correct, Leslie?
Yes.
I watched it, and he was going to save Aurora. He was going to come back. He was going to get rid of all these terrible people that were there. And Leslie and I are actually going to do a recorded video going more into depth about Aurora. But Leslie, did you see an influx? And that many people, you would see them somewhere. Did you see huge numbers of Venezuelans?
No. Not at all. I'm sure there's some immigrants here, legal or illegal, but not 50,000.
Mm-hmm. And the population of your town is like almost 500,000, correct?
Yeah, Yes.
Now, I just read what Mr. Picky said, and I think he puts it very well. That he says it's nice to have amicable discussions on these touchy subjects. Keep in mind, we don't have to agree with each other and still be friends. I don't agree with nothing with my wife says, but we're still kind of friends. I have one word for you, Mr. Picky. Couch tonight. You're in the doghouse. So, but yes, that is exactly what I have said now a couple times, that, people from all over the world can come in, pull up this video, see what people are putting in the chat, what we're talking about and stuff. And we all need to get along, and it's okay to not agree. You know, I mean, we can disagree on fashion, on nail links, on hair colors, all that kind of stuff. So, well, thank you, Chatty Hag. Thank you. But because you know what the thing is I don't want to preach to people. I want to share what my own personal experience is, and then I want to hear other people's experiences and opinions. That's why I love having Jerry on. Jerry is intelligent. She researches stuff. She's articulate. She doesn't just speak off the top of her head. So and if you listen, like, she will look up her information, she will know her things. And exactly, Mr. Picky, if you ever want to ruffle the feathers in America, bring up deportation,
Oh
because
boy.
that's when the everybody is get them out. But the thing is that people don't realize those people pay rent, they buy food, they buy clothes, they go to the entertainment places. So if you take them
Yep.
all out of a community, what happens to your prices in those communities?
Yeah.
What happens? We had it happen here in Florida. If anybody wants to look it up, um, several years ago, it was in a little tourist town called Mount Dora, Florida. And Google what happened with immigration with this incident that had happened with some drunk guys and a police officer. But they arrested thousands of people in one town. In one town, they got rid of thousands of people because of an incident that had happened. And I mean, we even witnessed it because I had a couple places out there, uh, in little shops, and I would pull my car over and watch to see what a police officer was doing, with a Hispanic walking down the sidewalk. And they would get right out of the car, have them against the car, frisking them, asking for ID. They were picking them up left and right. So, but yeah, well, but if you Google what happened with the whole deportation stuff, there was a restaurant in Sorrento that we loved, and they actually had to close the restaurant down for a few weeks because all their employees were taken. They lived in these rundown trailers behind the restaurant. And one night at closing, they came, got the servers, the cooks, the dishwasher, they cleared the place out. They took everybody. So, but so if you talk about, it's real easy to say, and I'm not saying that I support everybody staying here. For me, I'm attached to it because of my family. You know what I'm saying? But and Jerry, who was the deportation supposed to be for initially? Who was going to be picked up and taken out?
Who was getting picked up and taken out?
Yeah, when we were going to start all of this, who was supposed to be?
It was supposed to be all the criminals, MS-13, but it's basically anybody with brown skin. What I'm hearing anyway. That's
Mhm.
what I'm.
And there's people from Canada is totally ignored for the amount that have come through there.
Yeah.
But Mexico, all kinds of countries have traveled through Mexico. And the burden that it put on the country of Mexico was unbelievable. They had people traveling through, destroying things, garbage and stuff everywhere, complaining about the food they were being served. Mexico didn't have to serve them food. You know, they tightened their policies even on buying bus tickets. You have to show proof of where you're going and where you came from, that you're legally allowed to travel, because they don't want you getting on these buses and making it easy and getting up to the border, you know? So,
We have some comments. House of Joni says something people don't want is their property values going down. This has happened in a small town in Bama near me, where they built housing for them and property values dropped. People can say they wouldn't mind, but I promise if you're honest, you'd not like if your property value drastically dropped regardless of the reason.
who are they building housing for? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I was wondering too.
Who is the housing being built for? It's certainly not undocumented illegal Mexicans. I can tell you that. They don't get anything free.
But
And
here's the thing: if you live in a neighborhood, and this is no offense to anybody, you live in a neighborhood where people who look different from you move in, and your property values go down, you should reconsider your neighbors. And I know that's my personal opinion, but that's how I honestly, your situation. Why is your property values going down? Because racists don't want to buy into the neighborhood anymore. That's the only reason. Everything in value is only what somebody's willing to pay for it. You know that, right? So,
mhm.
you
Hello,
know,
Olivia. I'm glad you're here. Hello. Okay, but here is what I want to know. Again, where this housing was being built, was it House of Joni that said that? What? Who was it being built for? Because I want to know that. I would be curious. Because if there's any free
She
housing, I would.
said, let me look it up as I want to give facts.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I would love to know that. And I mean, and here's the thing too. I will let you know this, that there is illegals, and I have them in my family that actually own homes here.
yeah.
So, and they've got some beautiful homes,
And
but they don't have a green card and they don't have citizenship here, but they own homes here.
that's the
So
thing, to be a United States citizen to buy a own home here.
you're supposed to be.
You're supposed to be a U.S. citizen to buy a home.
No, but you're
Oh,
supposed to be, you're supposed to go through the right channels and stuff. But I'm just saying,
oh,
everybody, when they get here and they're working, of course, they want the American dream. You
sure.
know, a mom of any color is still a mom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She loves her children. She wants a good life for her children, you know, and and when they have homes, just like in every color there's good and bad. Even on the street where my home is at, there's always that one house that you go, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how much the house cost. So we had in neighbors, if you're watching this, I apologize, but it is what it is. How does somebody pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a house, and then you have a brand new sparkling pickup truck that you think you're not going to park it in the driveway because you got a pretty car there, but and not in the garage, but you're going to park it in the middle of your front yard? It's not going to fly. You know what I'm saying? And that's somebody with,
Might be a redneck kind of story. That's what
right,
that sounds.
well, but that's somebody with some money. Well, they actually came here from the West Coast. They came here from California. But how
Oh,
possibly could you think that you could take that very expensive truck and park it in the middle of your yard and think it's okay?
I don't know. Yeah.
You know? So,
I guess sometimes when you come from the big cities and there's no street parking, do what you got to do. So
yeah,
maybe
well, here you were provided with a driveway though, you know?
no, it doesn't make it right. I just said maybe they're just that they're used to do it, you know. Um,
Okay, Gizmo, your stuff, you're just a pig. We know who you are, and bye-bye. Do you want to go ahead and do that one, Leslie?
I already did.
Okay. And do you have comments from anyone that we need to know?
Yes.
Because it's flying past me. And I
Yes.
appreciate all you guys being here and being comfortable enough to put stuff in the chat because, again, we can come together as a community and talk about anything.
The House of Joni says they're Haitian, Rebecca. There are multiple articles about it. This is a community near where my dad owned a lake house.
Uh-huh. And so what did they get? Did they get an apartment complex, single family homes? And were they free? Was it someone who owns the land who did it? I'm curious.
yeah, me too.
I'm curious to
Th-
know because you know what I'm saying. I want to look it up uh, just to read into it because again, I love learning about people.
Um,
People and pretzels.
If you're a home,
Chatty Hag says, but how come Mexico doesn't step up and do what they need to do? Why have they allowed the cartel to control their country for so long? Why is there so much crying? Why do we have to carry the burden?
Well, now I can tell you this as somebody that goes to Mexico, have for decades. I've been married, by the way, for the record, for 40. July was 41 years. I have been married to my Mexican American husband. Okay, so we go to Mexico a lot, but um, the thing is in Mexico, in so many parts of it, you don't even have to lock a door. Some homes don't even have doors on them. You know, there is no crime. Even when you go to like Cancun, to me, smells like urine and beer.
oh,
And that's because it attracts like all the partiers and stuff. If you take the ferry and go across to Cozumel, all the first couple blocks are all the tourist stuff. Then once you get past that and you go into the real neighborhood, I mean, it's just normal people. Now, they do have in Cozumel, they have one famous crackhead who happens to be an American that has lived there for years. And it's like, gee whiz, why do you have to be the only crackhead, that's here? Anytime I go to Cozumel, I've never seen one homeless person there. So, and what Mexico does, Jerry, you're muted, honey. I can't hear you.
no, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I should be.
I saw your lips moving, but I couldn't hear you. But and
Yeah,
in
because it was.
Mexico, the police are not paid a lot of money, you know. So just like it does in this country, there are people that for money and to get ahead in life, they will accept that money to do jobs they shouldn't do. I mean, let's face it, we got people on both sides of the border getting wealthy off very poor people, you know? And
Yes.
even like the job that they were called coyotes that used to pass people across the border. And I'm not going to go into the story of how coyotes work, but say if you had a family member that was being transported by a coyote, you could get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning and he's standing at Western Union and says, I've got your family member, send the rest of the money. So you send the rest of the money and then he goes on to get your family member to you. Now the cartel has taken all that over. So really all the coyotes, are put out of business or they have to work for the cartel, you know. Leslie, how long did you ban
Uh,
Gizmo for?
for 24 hours, but he come back under a
Yeah.
different name.
You keep it up. Well, I'm going to talk to someone at YouTube tomorrow and they will get his URL, but I'll tell you guys off screen who that is and just you should be ashamed of yourself. That's all I've got to say. So that's all that I've got to say. Do you have other comments, honey? Because the chat is like flying past me, and I don't want to miss anybody. I want everybody to be heard.
Yes. Let's see. Here, CNDP says, here in Massachusetts, there are illegals living in houses, and there are 10 to 20 people there in our neighborhoods causing issues left to and right.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't mind me asking, Cindy, what group of people is that? Where are they from?
Yeah.
And anyone else? Who is the mod here, and why hasn't this person been removed yet? Do you mean why hasn't our mod been removed?
No.
Or,
Who is? They're asking who's the mod. Mod is her name is Leslie, and she has removed him, and he came back with the same username and a different account. So.
oh, yeah.
He probably has several, most likely. I'm assuming it's a he, but it probably isn't. They, wherever they are.
I want everybody to be heard in the chat, and so that's why Leslie is gracious enough to come and read the chat to us so that we don't miss anyone.
Mary Ann says, before all the deportations, I was surrounded by migrants. It had no effect on area property values. They contributed greatly to the local economy. Now we have apples rotting on the trees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, what state do you live in, Marianne? If I can ask. And that's the thing I'm worried about. Last conversation we had about tariffs, and everybody's talking about prices of food going up, and they're only going to go up more when we can't get our stuff even grown here in the United States picked fresh, and take all the workers out. We want the housing costs are going to go up because there's people who want to work who can't work. They get taken off their job sites and stuff. So a lot of that's going to be affecting in our country's future. Not just locally, but not globally, but throughout the
Well,
nation.
but there, we discussed that also last week. That, I mean, there's farmers, like I saw the gentleman that owns the apple orchard in the state of Washington, and said, when an apple costs you $15 and I've got them rotting here on the ground, folks don't complain. But
Right.
here's my question: whenever these people are working illegally for the white man's pocket, it used to be back in the day, a few decades ago, employers were penalized big time.
Mm-hmm.
They were given fines. Now they're going into facilities and just clearing them out and taking the undocumented, and they're doing nothing to the employer. Why is that?
Well, the employer would pay the fine anyway because the amount of money they're making off of what they can pay a migrant worker versus what they could pay an American worker is worth the slap on the wrist they get every time they get called out. Why they're not, I don't know if that's true globally too, if they're not punishing the farmer anymore. But we don't hear about it as much, probably because they got away with it for so long. Like, who's going to complain that I had to pay a fine when I made, a $2,000 fine when I made $500,000 off of these workers, type of thing? They're not going to complain about it. They're just going to pay it, shut up, and then hope new migrants come in. Take
Mm-hmm.
it.
Well, but does anyone in the chat know why people come in undocumented versus coming in as a migrant worker? And I know this from, again, only from Mexico to here, because my father-in-law back in the 50s used to come to the United States as a migrant worker. And then we've had a couple family members that have chosen to come as migrant workers, not undocumented.
Right. They don't stay. That's the difference, right? They don't stay forever. Is that the
Well,
difference?
no, well, that's one of the differences. But when you come in as a migrant worker, and again, I'm only speaking from our family experience, you are not uh, eligible for health benefits,
Right.
and they do not have to pay you minimum wage. So you can be paid a few dollars an hour and be stuck in a house that the farmer, whatever, has purchased to put 30 guys in a one bedroom place. And they're stuck there, but they feel safe that they came legal. So, and an undocumented person says, I've got 5 kids here to feed. There's no way I can do it on what the migrant workers are making. We had a car accident, and those of you that are here from Florida might remember this. It was up by Ocala not that long ago, where a bus full of migrant workers were killed by a white American repeat offender, DUIs, and he hit this bus and killed all these people. And then they were doing a fundraiser for uh, these people that had died on this bus to bring their families here and stuff. Do you know the only white person that showed up there? Only white person. I'm just getting goosebumps over this now. The only white person that cared enough to be there for all these people that died was me.
Oh wow.
Now, if that would have been a bunch of white people killed on that bus, we
Oh,
would
for
have had thousands from the community. Thousands. It didn't happen for these folks. And so, what were they doing wrong? They were here legal, they were working, and they were killed. And nobody cared. So, Leslie, can you catch us up on the chat? Because again, I don't want to miss anybody. I want everyone to have a chance to be heard.
Yes. Alfonso asked, should churches be a safe place to be? I've heard that they can still be deported from a church now.
yeah, I think they should be, but
Well,
I
people don't understand the definition of what a sanctuary city is, and just automatically places have assumed that a church is the place for someone to go to be protected. And that's not the case. That's like when uh, the governor of Florida and the governor of Texas and different ones started sending people to Martha's Vineyard, to New York City, wherever. They were sending them to sanctuary cities, to say, hey, you're a sanctuary city here. You take all these people. And that's not what a sanctuary city is even for, you know? So, and then they got these massive amounts of people and did not know what to do with them. And again, let's go back to humanity. Think about being a person that, okay, you crossed the border, you came here to work, you're being directed to an airplane or a bus, then you're not going to your brothers, your aunts, your moms, whatever. You're taken totally off course, told what you're going to do and stuff. I mean, what is that? And if you are, there were a lot. I know someone said earlier that like these last groups crossing weren't coming here for working. I agree with that. I know any Mexican in my family that crossed, made the long trip and everything, they were working the next day they came.
yeah.
They weren't sitting and waiting for, I live in Florida, Davita. I live in Florida. The Sunshine State is where I live. And do we have a lot of illegals here? Yes, we do. But then do we have a lot of legals here? Yes, we do.
Yes.
And, I've stated before, and Jerry, I know you know this. My concern is my husband being dark skinned is going to be picked up when he's out and about at work, whatever, and taken to a processing center. And who knows how long he'll be there, you know? So there's ones that they've even shipped them to the wrong countries. you
Wow.
know? But we have confusion on that because whenever President Trump had said, if you don't come and start picking up all your own people, what was going to happen to them if they didn't come? Does anybody know? If you don't come and start picking up your people, this is what we're going to do to you. Colombia immediately showed up with a plane. Do you remember that?
Tariffs.
Right. They were going to get tariffs. Do you remember that, Jerry?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But after that one plane with the group of pilots standing in front of the plane, have we ever seen on our news or anywhere, have we seen another plane come from anywhere to pick up people?
Nope.
You know? And is it, I'm sure we've all watched different news channels, all of us. Has anybody seen one person that is being handcuffed and shackled at their feet? Have you seen anybody fighting back or being violent?
No, I haven't.
You know, any of them? I haven't seen one.
No.
Wait, I see Mary Ramirez is saying something.
My son, who is Hispanic, was stopped by the police in 2016, and they told him the reason they stopped him is he needed to prove he was an American. Well, needless to say, he did.
Okay, Mary, how did he prove he was an American? I know when my husband had a green card, he had a green card, a little alien card. And when he became an American citizen, we just got a document at the ceremony that's like a big, college-sized diploma to hang on the wall. That's what we got. There's nothing on his driver's license, anything, just this big diploma that says he's now an American citizen.
Oh goodness.
What, honey?
Me?
Oh, no, my husband said that you're talking about when you became a citizen, correct? Yeah. So when he became an American citizen, they took his actual green card away.
Mm-hmm.
He had to turn that in.
Yeah. So he wouldn't give it to any. Well, not he would do anything. Cupcakes, cutie pie. He wouldn't do anything bad, but so he doesn't pass it on to someone else.
Right. So, but he does not have any way to prove who he is. You know?
Family from Wisconsin. Do you remember that story? There's a Puerto Rican family from Wisconsin who got detained by ICE. And I'll tell you, I don't obviously.
Oh, Jerry, hold that thought 1 second. Okay, Leslie, who is the troublemaker here? I just saw Rebecca. You got a troublemaker here.
I think it's shake, rattle, and roll.
Just block that person is what
Okay.
you do. Okay, I'm sorry, Jerry. Continue, honey.
It's okay. There was a Puerto Rican family in Wisconsin, and they were shopping. It was a mom, a mom, a grandma, and a son, and they were speaking Spanish to each other because the mom's from Puerto Rico. She moved here to visit. She was visiting her daughter. I think I don't remember that part, but they got detained by ICE, and it was one of those things like it sucks. It shouldn't happen. How do you prove that you're Puerto Rican and not Mexican? Those types of things. But one of the things that was just like one of the most unexpected parts of all of it is they were stranded at the detention center once they were released. They obviously weren't allowed to take their car to the detention center, and they weren't allowed to let anybody know they were there until it was too late. And then they got released out, and it's Wisconsin in the middle of, I think it was December or January. Well, it had to be after January. Well, let me see if I got a date.
Okay, it says kicking. Whoever it is, Leslie, do not be afraid. If you block someone by mistake, I'll apologize and send them chocolates and we'll fix it. But just don't be afraid to block whoever. Again, tonight is zero tolerance. I want everyone to feel welcome and to be able to speak their mind and give their opinions. This is how we learn and grow as people.
That's
so
right.
If all you want to do is be mean, it's not going to happen tonight. And I'm not going to give you the mommy speech. And I'm not going to hold your hand, except, Picky Nikki, I will hold her hand because she requested it. But I
January
mean, we're
20th.
adults.
It was January 28th, Wisconsin. Can you imagine how cold it was? And they just got released from the detention center. They didn't get bus fare. They didn't get call it, custom. I don't remember exactly, but I'm gonna find that story from the original.
I heard that story actually.
Yeah,
I heard
custom
that.
had to get like a really expensive Uber to get back to their stuff. It's just that part is like, where is the plan for when that happens? There's no plan in place for when that happens, and there really needs to be. Maybe
Exactly. And
6.
Nikki, yes, you are very special, sweetheart.
Sorry, sweetheart.
But no, she said when I said I would hold Picky Nikki's hand, she said because I'm special, and I said yes, she's very special. But you know what? That is what happens. That if they're let go, you're let go.
Yeah.
Leslie and I have talked since probably last fall about this. And one of our things was my brother came up with the idea to get AirPods, place them in my husband's car, work trucks, and have one on his body so that I would be able to locate him.
That's a great idea.
But it's like, well, they're going to make you change your clothes. But then in some of these centers, you see them. Now, we had in our area, I don't know about anybody else in Florida. Hi, Deb's being cut. That anybody that, whoops, hold on one second here. I don't know how to do that. Sorry. I'm losing my train of thought. What was I saying? Here in Florida, our police departments have come out and said that they are enforcing the immigration stuff. They're behind it. The only thing they're concerned about is what do you call it? The head count in the jails.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then the jails were naming, like Volusia County, probably we can hold a few thousand people here, but they've been at maximum capacity with illegals. Well, who's paying for that? Our county's paying for that. Then wait and see if the federal government's going to, pay you back. But our county is paying for that.
Everybody here hopefully knows that an immigration problem in the United States is hardly new. And I don't mean new Mexican Americans and people coming over the border. But I just meant immigration. We were talking once before about when I lived in New York, the biggest undocumented group of documented. Well, it was Filipinos were approaching, but the Chinese, because they come and visit families and they stay forever. They come on a visa, like a temporary visa, and they just don't go home. And they've got jobs, and they've got work, and they've got family to stay with, and they stay for generations.
Yeah, well, my friends that came from Cuba through Mexico, they have their green cards because they're from Cuba. I have another friend from Cuba that they bribed someone to get her in-laws' passports. They had to pay for them and bribe someone to get it through the system. Then they had to bribe the travel agent. They were only coming here on a vacation. Okay. They got here and said, holy cow, this is America. They didn't go home. Once they were here a year and a day, guess what happened for them? And they got a check every month. And now they actually, because they are citizens, because they came from Cuba, you know what we do for them. And nothing against Cuban people. Like I said, these are my friends.
Sure.
But they receive Social Security because they're now American citizens. And they came here for a vacation. And Olivia, I saw what you said, sweetheart. And yes, my husband has a driver's license. A driver's license does not prove you're a United States citizen. Some states, Florida rescinded it, but some states were allowing undocumented people to get driver's licenses so they could have car insurance versus driving a car with no license.
Yeah.
So, but a driver's license does not prove that you're an American. So, but yes, he's got a driver's license. He actually has a CDL license.
I also wanted to talk about like the, being from a lot of these derogatory names. curious. I'd ask my dad, what does that mean? And I don't want to use the slur, but have any of you heard of Italians being called wops?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yep.
that was that meant without papers. That was the illegal Italian immigration 100 to 120 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what that means. And then, of course, we had the Irish migration that happened, I think, in the mid 1800s to whenever, because of the Great Potato Famine, which turns out to have been like the 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 Protestant queen. The I know there's the monarchy. So the Protestant monarchy, basically wanted all the Irish Catholics out. So they basically created the potato blight, which got all the Irish Catholics out, and they moved in, the latter half of the 19th century to the early part of the 20th century. And
Mm-hmm.
thank God for it, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. So, and a lot of them came, a lot of them came legally, kind of, but, Ellis Island was overrun and overwhelmed, and they just couldn't process everybody properly. A lot of what's happening in detention centers or immigration centers along the southern border as well. It's just that it's an overwhelming number of people, and if we took more staff from ICE or the security and help these people come into the country with background checks, it almost feels like it would be more productive than counterproductive. They want to come here and they want to work and they want to have the American dream. Let's have more people work to process them so that they can get a green card, so they can work, so they can contribute properly, and that thing. But I will tell you that I do know that you cannot we talked about this before, do not qualify for federal government benefits, you said, unless you've immigrated from or escaped a communist country. But not a lot of states, some states have programs, and some churches, many churches have programs to help out these people. So if you do know of somebody that may have like food benefits cards or gift cards or credit cards, a lot of times that's from a charitable organization or from their local state or community. Bless you. But Leslie just
Well, that's because a church looks at it from the Christian point of view. That people are people, and the Bible tells us that we are supposed to. Hi, Margarita, welcome in, honey. That we are supposed to feed and clothe the poor and the needy. So, Leslie, there was a comment that went by that I missed. That was by Mary Ramirez. Did you see it? She says the first time she went to Mexico, she went to Juarez.
Deleted.
Oh, well, what she's saying there is, Jerry, is that she had to pay the guys there money to approve her papers for her to continue to go through New Mexico. And it's true. It's true. And it happens in every country with the greed factor of money. Anytime somebody thinks that there is a dollar to be made, people that have that bad in them, they will take the money over being a good person.
Yeah, I have family in New York, and one of their big complaints with immigration was that immigrants were coming in and taking their jobs in construction and stuff. And I'm like, well, you can't blame the immigrant for that. You have to blame the contractor, because he's not willing to pay you what you're worth. He's willing to pay somebody who's here on the down low less to get the same work done. So really, you have to blame. I sound like a broken record, but you have to blame the capitalist who's trying to make more money, instead of just caring for his people. I mean, there is a lot of companies that care for their people, but there's also many more that don't.
Well, now, Olivia says, Rebecca, we can't pay for the whole world. At the rate we are going to lose Social Security in 10 years. Well, I heard that 10-year thing a few years ago.
I'm sorry. I just want to address that real quick. Social Security is a self-funding system. If we lose Social Security, that's because our government went, um, what's the word? Oh, not rogue, but they went, when you bad people. What am I saying? Ugh, I hate words.
I know, and I know what you're talking about. Yes, they are. They're literally their own government system. The court things they do for people on appeals and all. They are. Social Security is its own government,
Yeah.
literally a government within our government. And when have you ever heard that money is taken from Social Security to fund these programs? And
Yeah.
and even like all the money that's gone for the
Right.
wars and stuff, but even with the money that's gone for wars, it's only a small portion of what's really there. So yeah, but Mary, can you be specific though when you say the government's been pulling money out of the Social Security pool for a long time? What is that pool called? Because I don't know what the Social Security pool is. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you saying the government has borrowed money or literally taken money out of Social Security?
I mean, that's would have to just be a theory. That would, yeah.
Oh, Mr. Picky said he just noticed your name. When my mom remarried after my dad, her name was Mary Ann Henson.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh, I'm bringing families together tonight. Look at this.
Who is?
I said I'm bringing families together
Oh.
tonight. Hensons meet the Hensons.
Welcome. Well,
That is too fun. Leslie, can you read or no?
Yes, I can.
Okay, and just let us know.
Um,
Again, I want everyone to be heard.
Mr. Piggy had said, I researched it, Rebecca. If he has his driver's license, he will be fine. They scan the license, and if they are legal, they will know at that point.
Yeah, but I don't know. My question on that now, see, we called our attorney about a couple different situations, and that's not the answer that we got from him. But here's the thing. By scanning the driver's license, and his driver's license is verified, which means he's turned in a social security card, all that stuff, but that still does not say that he's a US citizen. You know? So that is just like our only fear. That he does not have anything on him, tattooed on him, in his wallet, anything that is going to instantly say to someone else, I'm an American, you know? And that's just my fear. I rely on this man so much for so many things that if something happened to him, I would be lost. You hear that, Mr. Cupcake? I'd be lost. No,
And
I would.
yeah, I know. I just
Olivia says, I think we should have more people coming. I think we should have more people coming, hire more judges, people to vet and process.
yeah.
But for now, we have to remove people until we can get it under control.
Okay,
Well, here's the thing that
but
I'm curious about. If anybody has an opinion in the chat, why do you see that they're taking these people from their jobs as farmers and their jobs in construction? They say they're coming after the criminals and the gang bangers and all these things, but why are they removing people? That's where they're going. They're going to schools, they're going to job sites, they're going to Home Depot where they stand out waiting for work.
mm-hmm.
Instead
Well,
of going where there's crimes and going to, hide out on the streets when there's dealers going on and those types of things. Like,
look at all the fires that they just had in California. Now I know Hurricane Milton came through here on October 9th. We are still not in our home. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? I come to my house, I'm still at a hotel. Anybody want to come see me? I'll be over at the beach. I'll be doing a live actually this Saturday. Yeah, from my room over there because I'm not coming
Oh,
back to the house on Saturday night. But yeah, but we're still dealing with the insurance company and stuff, and even getting estimates like for the pool cage. And a pool cage is the big screen that goes over your pool. Minimum that it will take to have that done right now. They told me with no problems with permitting and the structural engineer and all that, minimum is 4 months. So now, if a pool cage is going to take that long to do, what about these folks in California? And where are you going to get the workers to build these houses?
exactly.
Where are they going to come from? All of my family that's illegal that lives in California, they're all in construction. They're all in construction. So, how are you going to rebuild California? And then if you say, oh, we'll get other people, well, there's certain jobs that just white people won't do or can't do, you know?
Or afford it. The government, FEMA, your homeowner's insurance only gives you X number of dollars. Are you going to be able to afford? Like, one of the things they told me at FEMA was whether you live in a mansion or a mobile home, they give the same amount per sheet of sheetrock. And I said, well, ma'am, because I was in Long Island at the time, I said, what I'm learning is whether you live in Podunk, Missouri versus Long Island, you still get the same amount of money for sheetrock, and it's obviously 5 times the amount of money living on Long Island for a piece of sheetrock,
Mm-hmm.
especially after after a hurricane where all of the supplies have gone dead. You know, it was like trying to buy a car. So many cars got destroyed that you
Mm-hmm.
couldn't even find a car to buy to replace the car that you had because the ships got damaged and all of the inventory had damage, and it's just sort of a whole big crazy situation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But in California is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of
yeah.
homes,
Oh yeah.
entire neighborhoods and stuff that are wiped out.
Yeah.
So how are you going to?
North Carolina, when they had the hurricanes just recently, there was whole entire neighborhoods, counties and stuff just gone. Like,
Margarita, that is so sad. She said that
what,
she has a friend whose husband was deported in Texas. Her husband was working in construction and got um, deported.
yeah.
So
Well, and that's why in the beginning talking about the difference between calling them undocumented and illegal, because again, illegal, yes, when you are in this country undocumented, it is a crime. Whether you came in legally or illegally, like the fact that you stayed before, like after your visa was expired or you didn't get a visa, yes, it's illegal. However, you're arresting good, hardworking people trying to provide for their families because they were born somewhere else where there was no opportunity left. And that's the part that's really why I like undocumented better. Actually,
uh,
there's a
it,
famous.
Chatty Hag is asking if
Oh, sorry.
my husband deserves to be here and stuff because he became legal and all that. Would I feel the same way if my husband was a different nationality? Here's the thing: in our family, I've mentioned it a couple times, but in our family, we have a lot of illegals that are here in this country. Not one person has committed a crime. Nobody has committed a crime. They actually volunteer at their churches. They're active in their communities and stuff. They own homes.
Wants to
You
know
know,
if his family was not Mexican. Would you still feel the same way about Mexican immigration? And that's
uh,
what she.
yeah, I would because again, I look at the big picture. Like I said, if you go into and literally like here in our area, there's towns that are literally that's all they are is farming towns. And like if you mention the town of De Leon Springs, De Leon Springs has several stores that are all Hispanic and stuff. It's all the construction workers, farm workers. There's farms and stuff everywhere. And so for me, yeah, because it's just human compassion.
Yeah.
Seeing people on the television with their hands handcuffed and their feet shackled and a mask on and just so degraded. And like I said, not I haven't seen one person fighting back. And then to hear our border czar, when Martha Raddatz from ABC, 2 days in a row, she was showing stuff on ABC of her talking to him and said, I thought you weren't going after anyone but criminals. And now you're saying you're going into the schools. And he said, yes. And she said, why? He said, well, because MS-13, the gang, they brought drugs into our school system. Well, I'm sorry. I'm an old woman. Even back in my day, there were drugs in schools.
Right.
And no, I'm serious.
No, I
And
know
those
it.
were the ones that you called them the burnouts. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, they smoke cigarettes and they do drugs. And drugs at that time was pretty much pot, but it was like, oh my gosh. So, and no gang brought that in. That was there. They were drinking and partying and doing all at 13 years old, you know? So to say that they're, he said they're coming into our country and then they're going into the schools. They're integrating the schools. So now you have to get rid of them. And I don't think that there's one kindergartner, first grader, second grader that is dealing drugs or doing
No.
anything wrong in a school. I just believe in humanity, in human compassion for humanity. You know, I truly live by treat other people the way I want to be treated.
Amen.
You
I
know,
Rebecca, you talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but we never really followed up. Uh, how do people in the chat feel about the birthright citizenship being removed?
oh, that's
And
right. Yes.
if you are for that, how many generations do we go back? How many generations do we go back? As far as you know, there
Isn't it called rebirth?
is
It's
it
for
called?
their rebirth certificates. Yeah, that they want to rebirth them.
Oh, I
That
don't.
is, yeah. Instead of them being automatically Americans because they're born here, you're going to rebirth them to the country of their parents.
And how many generations do we go back? You know, like, do we say, if you're a fourth generation Mexican like American who was born here and your parents were born here and their parents were born here, but your grandparents weren't, how far do you go back?
Okay, Alfonso says he's against it. Olivia says she agrees with it. Anyone else? I don't, well, and see, and like when you open that door though, here's my question. If one parent, and we know a couple here, the baby now I think is like 7 months old. One parent is a citizen, one parent is illegal. So is that baby half illegal?
Exactly.
Does that baby go and then, like, are we going to have to start tracing back to pure bloodlines?
That's it. And I said anybody who's not Native American will have to go.
Well, and you know what the funny thing is? My family, there's Native American in our family.
Yeah.
But I was also born in Washington, D.C. So hello. Tell me I'm not an American.
So you're a woman without a state. My
Yeah,
goodness.
exactly. And the thing is, I was born in the ambulance on the way to Walter Reed Memorial. So, and my mom always joked the ambulance drivers did not have birth certificates to fill out, so we got yours from Walter Reed. But yeah.
Oh,
But
that's
so it's like, but what do we do though, like with those kids?
yeah.
You know, are they, if they're only one parent is legal and the other parent is not, do they fall under a category? Are they rebirth kids? You know what I'm saying? Like where does that fall?
That's the question. And how many generations do you go back? And what is legal and what is illegal? That's another great thing, Rebecca. Um, if you, I don't know, when we didn't own half of the United States, you know, and then we took the Louisiana Purchase. Anybody who was born before, you know, the purchase of, like, do those people have to go back? You know, we're only talking 200 years. It's not even like that far away. It's like, you know,
Right. Well, no, our border czar was also asked by Martha Raddatz, if you are deporting these parents, who is going to care for these children then that
yeah,
are here? And he said, there's churches and there's programs in place to foster and take care of children.
yeah. So they'll have to live off the government, which is what they're complaining their parents now. It doesn't make
Exactly. But wouldn't, I mean, do you then, if the child is a minor, are you sending them with the parent? Those are like the questions that I just wish I had the ability to reach one of these, officials, and sit them down and ask all the questions that the news anchors don't ask.
yeah.
Because as American citizens, we have a right to know these things. We
Now,
have a right to know what is going on.
so Barack was from the United States, but he was born right when Hawaii became, like, right after Hawaii became a state. So people he was in high school with there in Hawaii, their parents were not born in the United States. So, like, and that's only 1959. You know, they're still alive. People are still alive that were born in 1957 in Hawaii before it was a state. They're just
Right.
automatically citizens because we adopted that as a state. But why is that different?
But that's why the claim was made that technically, but it wasn't said technically, just that he's not a U.S. citizen. See?
No, he
So,
did that because he was black and he didn't want him to be. He said he didn't have a United States birth certificate. That whole thing, but
right. But here's the thing, though. If we are going to remove parents, we're going to remove children. Now, my best friend Kelly, I don't know if she's in the chat, if she's listening tonight or not. She lives in North Carolina. And the past 2 days, when we've been talking, she's gotten an Amber Alert on her phone. Today and yesterday, it's for two different teenage Hispanic girls that are missing. Well, what are the chances of that? You know what I'm saying? And did the parents report them missing and they were actually rounded up? So I mean, and I said to her, if you heard anything, let me know. But 2 days in a row, she's gotten the Amber Alerts because they're reported missing by a family member. The police take their report and then go, okay, we'll do a missing person for you, to do that. And they could be sitting right there with ICE. So who knows? Okay, Leslie?
Yes.
Are you still there, sweetheart? Do you
Yes.
have anything in the chat that you would like to share with us? Because I see the words flying.
Mary Ann says, Mary Ramirez, as of the recent election, criminals are criminals, but it doesn't matter. We have set a horrible precedent. Chatty Hack says drugs were rampant the way they are now, period.
well, that's very fortunate for you. I'm sorry, just to interrupt. That's very fortunate for where you live. That's the case, because that's not the case all over the world, all over the United States. It might just be catching up to certain places that it wasn't before, but it's also lessening in other places.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia James says even natives aren't native here. They migrated here via the Bering Land Bridge.
Well, that's not true.
Oh.
And Mr. Picky says if you crossed illegally, that is breaking the law, and the U.S. therefore should be deported. Only exception being if they are actively seeking lawful citizenship.
Yeah, we
But
agree.
you don't have the opportunity whenever, unless there is an amnesty program, if we came up with that again. But when you have entered the country illegally, you cannot go and apply for citizenship. You have to exit the country and then apply. So it used to be, you used to be able through marriage to apply for your spouse and they could become a citizen through that. That was active back in our day. But my husband was insistent on it that he was not going to become a citizen through that program because he never wanted, when people ask, "Oh, did you become a citizen because you guys got married?" So he said, "No, I want to earn my citizenship." So, and he did that. But now you can no longer through marriage become a citizen. They have, the exception is that K1 visa, like you see the TLC show, they bring their fiance in and then they have to get married within 90 days. But
Mhm.
you cannot. Who remembers a couple decades ago that it was big for people to get married for $5,000 to make somebody a citizen?
Russian bride, Chinese brides. Yeah.
But it was big. Everybody knew about it. I even had a couple friends who did it. I'm like, 5,000, you're going to take $5,000 for that? Well, to someone who had nothing, they thought it was a lot of money. I'm like, I wouldn't be doing that. But yeah, but no, there's people who did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but no. And so now you can't do that. So, but look how long it took for that to be gone, you know? So now, either way, if we are, oh, well, God bless him, Alfonso. If we are, Mr. Picky's so funny. If we are going to be strong on deporting people and we don't stop to think about the effects in our communities, and then all the children that are going to be left behind until the rebirth situation is dealt with, we're going to have a big mess. You
Yeah.
know, nobody ever mentions anymore the poor children that have been in detention centers since the administration of President Obama. You know, there are kids that literally grew up in a detention center.
No, I didn't know that.
You know, yeah. Well, he was the one, it started with President Obama's administration and then in Biden's. And then when they did a few years ago, it was in June, I think it was 4 years ago, that we got to hear about the detention centers. There was no news out anywhere about it. And then it slipped that in Brownsville, Texas, I believe it is, they were building a center to hold over 20,000 people. So, and we have one here in Florida that is actually not too far from Mar-a-Lago, that is a detention center, and they're in several states. So, but all the children that have been taken there, don't you remember in the beginning, Jerry, they were saying, well, we can't give them back to the parents because the information was all messed up and stuff, and
But I
we
didn't
don't
know
know
it was
where they
back.
are,
Yeah.
you know, and those kids have been forgotten, you know, but the mom and dad that go to bed every night with an aching heart, they have not forgotten their children.
I know.
They haven't forgotten them.
That's
So,
really what in what do they got, the first 24, those TV shows, the first 24, that you can test somebody's DNA and get results back in 24 hours if you're trying to put them in jail. But if you're trying to match them to their parents, absolutely take your time.
mhm, exactly. But no one has cared enough, though, and there has been no movement or anything to try and resolve that issue now that has gone on for well over a decade, you know? And me, human being to human being, and especially for children, my heart aches for those kids every day. I pray for them and that there'll be some way of building their family. But here's what happens when you take a family's children away, and they're not returned, you've wiped out a whole generation of their family. It's gone. So it's like, is that the purpose of doing it? That's just what concerns me. And I don't know how, as a parent, and I can tell you this, and again, I can only speak from personal experience, but mamas in Mexico, they take their kids to school. First, they get up and they fix breakfast in the morning. They take the kids to school. They go back at lunchtime with their food for them to have lunch. Then they go back after school and pick them up. And that's why if you live in an American community and you will see the Mexican ladies standing out on the corners with their kids, for the bus, because that's what they did in Mexico. So they guard over their children. They love their kids, whether you're Haitian, Jamaican, Mexican, from
Yep.
Guatemala, wherever you're from. Other cultures love their children just as much as we do.
Or
You
more.
know? Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of white parents that don't really care very much for their kids.
Yeah. Well, there's ones that, that are, I think it's primarily faith-based and then families first, you know? So that family's important and what matters to people. So, but it's very sad. Well, does anybody have any last comments? It is 10 o'clock and we could talk forever. What did Jim say?
That wasn't Jim.
Oh, I thought it was Jim. It must be
Oh,
at Leslie's house then. Because I know I'm not here. But if anybody has anything else that you want to add in the chat, just let us know so we can wrap up for tonight. And if anybody has any ideas for next week's show, put it in the chat. If not, I'm just going to surprise you because that's how I roll. So, but I'd love to talk about things that other people are afraid to because they don't want to offend or upset people. And I really, I guess I want to prove that, yes, we can have conversations without fighting.
oh, she's just getting ready to say goodbye. My husband just came in to get me. I guess because it's 9:00.
Yeah.
He has an alarm that goes off every night at 9:00. It's time to put the girls to bed.
Oh my gosh. Well, and Mr. Picky says, please pray for him because Nikki has gotten the couch made for him. Now, see, I'm going to have to put her through retraining because if it was me, you would throw the blanket and the pillow. You wouldn't be making the couch at all, honey. You would leave him on his own to do that. And then you would tell him to make sure to take all the pillows off the back of the couch so he didn't mess anything up. That's what you would do. So, well, I thank everyone for being here. We will pick a topic for next week. Anybody who ever wants to come on the panel, contact myself or Jerry ahead of time. And oh, see, she would be nice there to him. Good girl. I wouldn't do it though, but let us know. And then if we talk to you ahead of time, and again that you're, a real person and passionate about something, and you can always email. My email, Leslie, would you put it in the chat what my email is, and then put Jerry, do you want yours in there also?
Yeah,
Is
you
that
can.
okay?
Garthb2@gmail.com. It's in the bottom of all my videos.
Yeah.
Um,
But I love having you guys here. And you know what, Big Mama, Jerry does not have everybody blocked because I know when I first asked her to start coming here, she had no request of anybody being blocked. And you're able to be here and to say that. So you're not blocked, sweetheart. And there's my email, Mr. Cutie's mom. And I do have a Mr. Cutie, my little chihuahua.
I'm
Um,
blocked
but
for good
th-
reason.
thank you for being here. And again, let's just focus on kindness, pray for our world, and that, we all have to work together, believe it or not, as regular people to be an example, not just for the rest of the world, but even for our government.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but thank you for
Rebecca,
coming. We love you. Peace and kindness to everyone. And
no,
we will see you next week. Love you.
if nobody's told you, I love you. Bye.
Bye. Wait, my nails. I'm trying to end us. Pretend I ended this, guys. These darn nails.